Nanny, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. First things first, just a huge thank you to everybody that has supported our first video, our first upload. Thank you so much. We truly appreciate it. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for my comments that you've posted, and just thank you for sharing the link to the video. I think when I last checked, we were sitting on just over 100 views, of which because I do not know that many people. So I know that it is because of your doing. So yeah, back to this week's topic. I want to talk about nannies. Some call them nannies, some call them helpers. I call them auntie and osizayo. That's the term I grew up hearing in my home, in my neighborhood, and obviously that's the term that I use. I feel it is dignified. I feel it gives the profession the respect that it deserves. Because I'm not a fan. I don't like the words domestic or maid. I feel there's a bit of a derogatory undertone. I feel they undermine a profession in some way, and I just think that they are not PC. I think they're not politically correct, so I don't use them. So the reason why I want to talk about this particular topic is obviously, one, because I'm a mother of 3, but also because it's that time of the year where fellow working mothers who work the 9 to 5 job are back at work or are going back to work. And you would know, you're fortunate if you've never experienced it, but you would know that during this time of the year, you tend to be very nervous, you tend to be very anxious, because you don't know whether auntie is going to come back from home, obviously after having taken the Christmas break to go home and be with their loved ones. So it does tend to be a time whereby we find ourselves as mothers seemingly hoping to auntie does come back. Fortunately for me, I do have somebody assisting me. I do have a lovely lady helping me with my kids, and that's what I want to talk about. Look at the role that they play. I know it's a profession that's often undermined, but having somebody who assists me, it's really makes a huge difference in my life, because they're not only are they helping me run my household, but they're helping me look after my kids and essentially raise my kids. So they play such a huge role in Bilwenzethu. And so I wanted to share my experiences that I've had with nannies. And I've only been a mother for, it's coming up to 5 years now in February. And whilst doing research, whilst just reflecting and taking down notes for this sit down video, I realized that I've had 5 nannies in a space of 5 years. I won't say I was shocked, but I was taken aback, or rather I was left feeling a bit indifferent, because I don't know whether it's a good figure, whether it's too many in a short space of time, or if it's an average figure. So please comment down below if you're a mother and how many nannies you've had during that period, during your motherhood period, because as I've said, I've had 5. So to my defense, I'm still in contact with 3 of the ladies that assist me. We still call each other, they still visit us, visit my kids. Actually, they still assist me as and when I need assistance. Like the lady that's currently helping me at the moment, she was previously with us in 2019. So I've only had to let go of one, and the other one did a run out. She just did not return. So I want to share like a quick my experience with each of these ladies that have came into my life. I became a mother in 2016, beginning of 2016, and I knew there and then, the moment I found out that I was pregnant, that the lady that would help me look after my child. And I called her instantly and I said, Auntie, I'm pregnant, so please come up to Durban and help me look after this child. And the reason why this particular lady is because I've known her for quite some time. She's practically family, and she's such a phenomenal lady. I like the fact that she's older than me. I like the fact that she's matured. She's experienced, but mostly just her passion for the job, and her love for kids. You can't buy that. You can't fake that. And she's got that in bucket loads. She loves kids, and she was with us for 2 years, 2016 to 2018, mid 20s, yeah, mid 2018. So she was with us for 2 years and a couple of months, and really it was, I could work until ungodly hours at the office because I knew that my kids were in good hands. She is proactive, and she's just somebody who loves what she does. The only problem, the only thing, not even eyayisixabanisa, but the only issue was that she would just, like, today is a Tuesday, she would busy getting ready for work, and then she would say, I'm going home during the week, without any notice, without alerting me. She would just wake up and feel like she wants to go home. And it happened once, it happened twice. I think when it happened for the third time, she had woken up at like 4 o'clock. And that's the thing, because there were no indications, there were no signs. She would be fine. You would wake up in the morning, you're fine, go to sleep, everything is fine, all honky dory, you're laughing, talking, and then she wakes you up to say that she wants to go home. She misses her grandkids. And then obviously you're left in the lurch, not knowing what to do, because obviously you need to go to work, but you need somebody to look after your child, and then you have to call people and run around like a headless chicken to find somebody in the 11th hour to come and assist you. So I think when it happened for the third time in Nanny, I was just like, I had it. I was like, thanks, but no thanks. You've been a great help, but I can't continue like this. I've got a career, I've got a job, and so something's got to give. So in mid 2018, we got Nanny number 2, and I vividly recall picking her up at Durban station, just on our drive back to Enkling, and something in me did not sit right. Call it motherly instincts, but I was just like, I was a bit apprehensive. But I said, you know what, let's give this lady a chance, get to know her, and see how she is with the kids. The one thing that I picked up from her from the get-go was that she was very snappy. So she would snap, like, I don't know if you know, understand what I mean. Like, she was the type of person who was always scolding, always constantly scolding my daughter. And I'm not saying don't discipline the child, but don't scold 24/7 to the point that the child is like frightened now of you every time, because she would be like, yay, yay, don't do that, don't do this. And this was at a point where my daughter was 2 years old. So she was at an age where she was exploring, she was getting to know the world, she was touching things, she was grabbing things, she was opening the cupboards. And for me, that's fine for me as a mother. I'm the type of mother who believes that you should give your kids that freedom to explore and get to know the world, because these things are all new to them. And obviously there has to be discipline and there has to be a balance in there, but not to the point that you are constantly snapping at your child and your child is now living in fear. And that's what I picked up from my child, well, with this lady. And this was like literally within the first week. So, but I didn't say anything to her. I didn't say anything to her. I don't know why. Maybe because she was older than me and obviously more experienced, because you're still a new mother. So to me, I didn't want it to seem like I know better than her. And also because I knew that at the end of the day, she's the one that's left with my child. So I didn't want to say anything that I felt could upset her, and therefore that energy would be directed towards my kids when I'm not there. So I just kept quiet. And so time went by, but I was like saying little things that I did not like. And I recall my brother was crashing with us at the time. I think he was with us for a couple of weeks, if not months. And he was giving me these reports, but I just, I didn't pay much attention to them. until my daughter actually said that, Mama, angimthandi u-Auntie Swanbani. I don't like the way that she treats me. I don't like the way that she talks to me. Obviously, that was a wake-up call for me to do something, to speak to her. And so, yeah, that's when I set her down. But I lied. I didn't really tell her why I was letting her go. I just said the kids are going to school, of which was the case, but I never really said that I didn't like the way that she was snapping at my daughter. So yeah, she lived to watch, like as I said, she was only with us for 2 months. And so in 2019, we got the lady that's currently with me now. She was with us for a year. She's younger than me. I like the fact that she's willing to learn. I like the fact that you can give her feedback and she listens and she does things. Because also, when you have somebody helping you have your ways of doing things and they have their ways, and it doesn't mean that their ways is wrong just because you want things to be done your way. So I think you have to sit down and reach an understanding and have that discussion to say, okay, mina la kwami, I like things to be done A, B, C, and D. And now, well, they might have their own ways of doing things, and be open. I think be open to seeing how they do things and say, hey, actually your way works way better than mine. So we had that lady for a year, but she had to go back home to attend to family emergency, family crisis. So this is I'm on nanny number 3 now. And then came the runner, who was only with us for 2 weeks. And she was such a great lady. She was a phenomenal lady. She was older than me, way older. I think she was my mother's age, if not older. So she was that motherly figure. Like, my kids took onto her from the get-go. They loved her instantly. She was like, we called her Ugogo. She was free, she was open, like she was chatty, and she really fitted into our routine, to the point that when we would have our evening prayers, she would pray with us. She would share a Bible scripture with us, and I loved that about her. But the one thing that she didn't like where we stayed at that time. And she was very vocal about it. Sadly so at times, but yeah, she would drop hints here and there that she did not like where we stayed. And I think, granted, our apartment at the time was obviously, we were a growing family, so our apartment was small, because we only had 2 bedrooms. But I mean, she wasn't sharing a bedroom with anybody, so she had her own bedroom. But she would mention, given an opportunity, she would mention how her previous employer had A, B, C, and D, and had a big this and a big that. And I think that sort of put pressure on me to find a new place, because I did not want to lose her, because I didn't want to find another nanny. And this is something that's also exhausting about finding umuntu, because you don't want to let in a complete stranger. And I think that's why, as in our community, in the Black community, we hardly ever use agents. We actually rely on a word of mouth, where you would call your mother or a relative back at home and say, listen, I'm looking for somebody to assist me. Please find somebody that you know, that's reliable, that's A, B, C, and D. Because, this is a complete stranger, so at least it must be somebody ongakwazi ukumtrace ukuthi uhlalaphi, should you need to know where she stays, that. So yeah, when this lady kept on hinting and complaining about our apartment, we started looking for another place. We went house viewing, and she would ask me every time we came back, oh, did you find something that you like? Did you find an apartment? And I recall we almost signed for an apartment that I didn't necessarily like, in an area that I did not like, because I knew at the time where I wanted to stay, but finances were not permitting at the time. So my husband was like, why are you being bulldozed into making this decision that you're not ready for, just to appease this lady? So I was like, no, I took a step back and I said, no, I'm not going to commit to this new apartment. And I could see the disappointment when I came back and told her that, no, we're not moving, not yet, but we are still looking. but she didn't say anything. And yeah, so after 2 weeks, because when she joined me, we did have an agreement that she would be paid fortnightly because she needed to go home every 2 weeks, as she was a married woman with a husband. And I understood that, so I was fine with that. So the agreement that was that I would pay every 2 weeks. She would go home every second Friday and come back on Sunday. So she went home after the first 2 weeks, and she did let me know on the Saturday that her mother was not feeling well. I said, fine, mama, it's fine. Just be with her, take your time. I will speak to my daughter's school and see if they can take in my son for a couple of days, because at that time my daughter was at creche. So she said she would come back on the Tuesday, I think. So fine, my son, I made an arrangement with my daughter's school, and my son was going to school for like a week. So the Tuesday came when she was supposed to come back, and she did let me know, shame, her mother is still not okay. I said, fine, auntie, just attend to your mother. But then my son is sorted for this week. Come back on Friday. Fine. So she calls me on Friday. Mother is feeling better, but there was some other emergency. I said it's fine, because we were going to drive down to Richards Bay that weekend, because this lady was from Richards Bay and we obviously stay in Durban. So I said, it's fine. We'll come back with you on Saturday. No need for you to catch a taxi, whatever else. We'll just all drive back on Saturday. And then Saturday comes, I'm trying to reach her. She's not answering her phone. She's not picking up. She's not replying to my text messages. She's just, she can't be reached. So obviously I start panicking. And then I receive a random phone call from a lady who said that this aunt had asked her to call me and that she was available to help me. And I wasn't keen on taking on just some person that I don't know, just some person from a phone call. So yeah, I had to find somebody else. So this is Nanny number 4. So she's the one that did a runner. But oddly enough, I think a couple of weeks, if not a month after that, she started calling me. No, she didn't call. She was texting me. She was texting me, asking us how we are we okay, are we still where we were? And I replied and told her that yes, so it was clear to me that the only reason that she left was just because she didn't like where we stayed. And as I said, granted, not we didn't like it, but we weren't ready to make that commitment and to make that move at the time. So I got lady number 5, who joined us 2019, eh? End of 2019, no, last year, beginning of last year. So she's currently on maternity leave, and she'll be returning later this year. But the one lady that I did not tell you guys about, the one nanny that I did not mention, I suppose she counts as nanny number 6. But she was only with me for a week, and the agreement video was that she would come to help me during the first 2 weeks of December before I went on leave at work. So she was supposed to be with us for 2 weeks, but she ended up only staying a week. And this is the reason why. Classic case. So what happened with this young lady? She had a great personality. She was just bubbly and full of energy. So what happened was, she decided to walk to the mall, to the nearby mall. Well, nearby, it's about 2 kilometers away. So that's a good 4 kilometers to and from. So she decided to walk to the mall, and she took my 3-year-old daughter at the time with her, and decided to lock my son, who was a year old, leave him in the house, and lock them in the house. And she lived with my 3-year-old daughter. They walked to the mall to buy airtime. And on their way back, they got lost. They couldn't find their way back home. Guys, like, did I not die that day? Because I'm at work now and I receive a phone call from her, but when I answer, she's not the one talking. So obviously my heart stops, like, what's happening? Who's this person? Like, where are my kids? Are you guys okay? What's happening? So this lady's like, listen, I'm with your nanny here and your daughter, and they're saying that they're lost, they don't know their way back home. So I ask her, where's my son? The lady that's on the other end, where's my son? She said, oh, I don't know, she's just her and your daughter. I immediately dropped the phone. I called my husband who's at work, because at the time we were traveling with one car, so I didn't have a vehicle to drive back home. I was pregnant with my third child. I was lazy to drive. So I call my husband. I tell him, listen, there's been a crisis at home. I'm crying because I'm like, they locked my son in the house and they walked to a mall. And as mothers, you will know, like, a child will go to sleep now, but will literally wake up 2 seconds later. So you can't leave a child alone in a house to go buy airtime, guys. So yeah, my husband is obviously now trying to make his way drive back to Endlini. 2 seconds later, I receive a phone call from a couple. They're like, listen, we are so and so. We were driving back home. It's pouring. It's raining here. Your daughter is here. She's crying and she's with her nanny, and they appear to be lost. They can't find their way back home. Please just give us your home address so that we can drive them back home. It's not safe. Now I'm just like, I'm crying, I'm pregnant, I'm the hormones, everything. I'm worried about my son, I'm worried about them. I just want to be at home. There's no transport. I can't Uber because it's far, guys, where we stay, and where we like drive from where we work to where we stay. So I'm like, thank you to this lady, and I give her my address. And I tell her, please rush home, because they locked my 1-year-old son in the house and he's all by himself and he must be in a state. And I'm crying and I'm trying to find my way back home. And shame, this couple did call me back, and I could still hear my son crying in the background. And the lady was saying, Uti, your son was in a state, but I have tried to calm him down. He's much calmer. Please just get home if you can, because your kids are not okay. Yeah, so we drove back home, and yeah, I didn't even know what to say to her. I honestly did not have the words, because she walked and locked my child. She walked like a good 4 kilometers and she got lost and left my son at home only to go buy airtime. So yeah, so you know how that one panned out. And yeah, that's my experience with the ladies that have been in my life. But even the ones that I had to let go, I think, yeah, because of what had happened, it made sense. But as my parting message, I think, I'd like to urge all of us who have or andabasizai to ensure that we pay them the prescribed amount, and to ensure ukuthi we adhere to ama labor laws when it comes to this profession. When I speak about labor laws, I mean obviously your UIF, time off, working hours, and those who can, if you can pay a little extra, please do. If you've got the means to pay extra, please do. And let us ensure ukuthi anti baya bonus. When you receive your bonus, anti must also bonus. Whether you get your bonus in November or December or during your birthday month, please guys, it really does go a long way in making their lives that much easier and that much better. And it's the least you can do for the role that they play. And also, I must emphasize in the treatment on how we treat our auntie. You know, the stories that you hear, the horrendous stories, it's not just stories of who auntie ill-treating the kids. I hear those, I see those, and obviously I condemn them. It's just wrong, and you guys would know. But also, let us treat our auntie with the utmost respect, because they are part of your family. When you let somebody into your home, into your space, to look after your kids, to be at your home when you are away, they are practically family. So a treatment here towards them is very important. I get surprised when I hear mothers speaking ill of for Auntie Babu, or worse, just the way that they treat them, the way that they speak to them. And in my head, I'm like, how is this making sense to you? You ill-treating this person, that you are entrusting your kids with, yet whether you're treating them like a second grade citizen. So it's important that we give them the respect that they deserve. And also lastly, I find it odd, but I've heard of people complaining about Oandi because of the most tedious of reasons. Because indlela adla ngayo, you hear somebody saying, oh, and wami, it's so much, or it's that much polony, or it's that much bread. And I'm just like, how is that a problem? If you are saying they're family, do you keep guard on how much or what your family eats? So really, let us not worry about as tedious, but let's rather give them the respect that they deserve. Treat them like family because they are family. They're looking after your kids. So if you can, spoil them. I suck up to and I suck up if I've got the means. Suck up to them, be nice to them because you need them to come back, but also you need them to help you raise your kids. So yeah, thank you so very much for watching this video. Kindly like, subscribe, view, share until we see each other again.